Hi, Christ Chapel. This is Pastor Jeff with our midweek check-in. Hope that you're continuing to do well. As you may know, most of you have received an email that we're going to be starting our public services this Sunday, June 21st at 10 o'clock on the front lawn of Christ Chapel, 1185 Durham Road in Madison. We hope that you'll be able to join us. If you're unable to at this time, we certainly understand given the restrictions. But we also will be pre-recording the message, and that'll be made available on Sunday. So you'll be able to join us in that way as well. Again, a lot of details were given to you in that email. If you didn't receive one, please contact the church office. We'll be glad to give you that. Those are just the guidelines for us gathering together. Just very quickly, we want you to know that we're asking you to bring your own seating. If you don't, we'll try to have seats available for you. There'll be 2 bathrooms open for emergencies only, and so that'll be for you as well. But we hope that you'll be able to join us. And again, as guidelines change, restrictions lift, then our guidelines will lift as well. Again, we're just so glad that we're able to take this next step of gathering together as a church, and so we hope that you'll be able to be with us. For this morning, I just want to talk a little bit from a passage from Ephesians, where Paul writes to the church at Ephesus in chapter 4, verses 3 through 6, where he says this: "Make every effort to keep the unity of the Spirit through the bond of peace. There is one body and one Spirit, just as you were called to one hope when you were called, one Lord, one faith, one baptism, one God and Father of all, who is over all and through all and in all." Jesus, in his prayer in John 17 for the church, said this, prayed this for us, that they may all be one. And again, in John 13, he says, "All men will know that you are my disciples if you love one another." Thomas Merton, in his book, The Hidden Ground of Love, put it this way. He said, "We would be known as his followers," speaking of Jesus, "not primarily because we are chaste or celibate, honest, sober, or responsible, not because we go to church or are Bible-toting or psalm singing. We would be recognized as his disciples primarily by our deep and delicate respect for one another, our cordial love, impregnated with reverence for each other." In the context of great affection, Paul pleads to the church to live at peace with each other, to be of one mind as they live in harmony with each other. Here's a definition I came across of harmony. That harmony are different notes but one chord, different chords but one key, blended together in one song. And that harmony produces a far more beautiful thing than any one instrument or one voice could produce by itself. Unfortunately, in that kind of a dynamic, and arrogance can move in and say something like this, that the only instrument of any importance is the one that I play, and everyone else should be playing my note. On the other end, false humility says something like this, that my note doesn't really count. And in the silence of that missing note, the song is weakened for lack of singing of that one voice. Harmony is everyone bringing all that we have together in one song. In 1 Corinthians 12:12, Paul writes, "The body is a unit, though it is made up of many parts, and though all of its parts are many, they form one body. So it is with Christ." Paul is speaking of the human body here as an illustration. It has many members: heart, lungs, eyes, kidneys, nose, mouth, goes on. They look different, they function differently, they perform differently at different times. Some work harder than others at different times. For example, while you're sleeping at night, your eyes may not be working, but your heart and lung continue to work ceaselessly. The problem is that, carrying that illustration forth, that when we, the church, turn against ourselves, the whole community around us hears about it and sees it. I remember moving into a community in Pennsylvania, and the former pastor took me around town, and literally a city of 35,000 people had 120 churches, and we had actually 4 Christian and Missionary Alliance churches in that one city, which didn't really speak of unity. And as we went around, he would point out each church, and with each church he'd say, this is where the pastor failed, or this is where there was a church division, or here's someone absconded with something, and just story after story. And as he told the story, I just began to think, that we seem to be forever poking ourselves in the eye. If you saw our body attacking itself, you'd think it was insane, or you would take pity on it. So Paul says, so it is with Christ. He says, what we do to ourselves, we are doing to Christ. We are the body of Christ, not the club of Christ, not the society of Christ. We are his earthly body, and we all too often forget that. Sometimes our passion outstrips and outruns our maturity. In Acts chapter 9, Saul is going about the countryside putting followers of Christ in prison, and he's breathing murderous threats against them. And Jesus appears to him on the road to Damascus, and his words to Paul in Acts chapter 9 are, Saul, Saul, why are you persecuting me? Who are you, Lord? Saul asks him. I am Jesus, whom you are persecuting. What we do to each other, we do to Jesus. The way we serve each other, we serve Jesus. What we say to each other, the way we talk to each other, we speak to Jesus. As it is in the body, so it is with Christ. So today I just have a word, and it's remember. While you are passionate about the things you're passionate about, and likewise for me, you might be right, I might be right. And when we see others over there passionate about other things, giving their time and their energy to things that they're passionate about, remember that we are all part of the same body. And the Lord is the only place that we can enjoy and participate in true harmony. Again, Paul says, for we are all baptized by one Spirit into one body. We were all given one Spirit to drink, one Lord, one faith, one baptism, and one God and Father of all, who is over all and through all and in all. Respect, value, and honor one another. There are many different notes composing one chord and many chords, but one key blended together in one song. And as we listen and obey Paul's words to us with greater effectiveness than we ever thought possible, we can storm the gates of hell, and we can bring out the captives, the call that Jesus Christ has given to us. May God bless you as we all seek to live in unity.